Good morning, Rabbi Isai. We're holding by the Mishnah on Daf Kuf Ches Amid Beis. Ha'omer echad mikvasei hegdish v'echad mishvarei hegdish. Rabbi, think about it. Without the Mishnah, you said you have a whole ranch, thousands of animals. You said one of these animals is hegdish. Which one? Which one? So we have a concept of v'chol mivchar nidreichem asher tidru l'Hashem. It should be mivchar. It should be the top. So ha'omer echad, one mikvasei hegdish v'echad mishvarei, or he says one of my bulls v'hoyel ishnaim and only had two. Hagadol shabem hegdish. Mivchar nidreichem, you gotta get the best. So now if we take the same, we apply the same reasoning. You have three, and he said the best. Which one should it be? He didn't say the best. He said, I want to give one of the bulls. It should be the best. What's the difference? 2 and 3. Says the Mishnah, Shloisha, if he has 3, Beino nisha b'hem hegdish, the middle one. This doesn't fit into what we just said. So the Gemara is going to explain. I'm just doing Chazarah here. It means also the middle one. Of course the top one, because the whole mifchan nidreichem, you got to go to the top. Also the middle. So 2 of them are Kaddish. So now you have a problem. 2. How do you get out of 2? The Gemara gives you a neitzah. Bein nisha b'hem hegdish. Pirashti v'eni yideh ma pirashti. I remember designating one, I don't remember what. Oshomar li abba v'eni yideh ma. My father died, and as he was dying, he said one of the bulls is hegdish. Hagadol shabem hegdish. Let's take the number 1, top one, the largest, heaviest, most gishmak, most expensive one. That's the one that goes. Mivchan nidreichem. Says Gemara, from the fact if there's 2, you have to give the number 1. Alma magdish b'ayin yava magdish. A person always donates with a largeness. He has a good eye. Ema seifa. So then what do we do with the middle case? Ben inish b'hem hegdish. If he donated 1 out of 3, you give the middle one. How's that possible? It's the top. It's the number 1. Alma magdish b'ayin ra magdish. Omar Shmuel, the pshat is no. It's not only the middle one, it's also the middle one. The top one for sure goes to the hegdish because mivchar nidreichem, you give the top. But also the middle one. The legabi katan. Hold on a second. We're getting there. We're getting there. All, if we finish the sugi and you have a question, then we'll ask. The legabi katan ayin yafahu, because compared to the smallest one, he is kaddish. As the Gemara, Heichi Ovid, what should he do? He can't bring 2 animals to Beis Hamikdash. Each one is $5,000. Omer B'chia Barav, 100%. Mamtin loy ad sheyumam. What you do is you wait until the middle guy gets a mum, falls a mum. You send him to Kevis land. Umachalei l'gdushosei bagadol. Memanavshach. Either the gdusha was on the top one and not on the middle one at all, and even if it was on the middle one and not on the top one, we're going to move the Kedusha, the owner is going to move the Kedusha as it has a mum. I'm going to transfer, that's a better word. I'm going to transfer the Kedusha from the middle guy to the top guy, and only one is Kaddish, because in fact he only said 1. Of course, we're talking about, we don't know what's going on. We have if we knew what's going on, great, but we don't. So we gotta make sure that we dot our I's, cross our T's. Omar Rav Nachman Omar Rabba Baravua Lishanu Elad Omar Echad Mishvarei Hegdish. If a person said 1 out of all my axes, he could have meant the middle one. Aval Omar Shor B'Shvarei uses different lashon. The axe of all axes. So now the axe of all axes means number 1. There's no question that a guy says axe of all my axes, Shor B'Shvarei, the axe of axes. And what if he says house of houses? He has a bunch of real estate. He says house of houses. L'chayr means the biggest, nicest house. The nicest penthouse. Okay. Shar b'shvara hegdish. Hagadol shabem hegdish. There's no question that a guy uses such a lashon, the axe of all axes, he means the best. The best of the best. Torah b'torah kamar. He meant the most chashuv. Okay? In this context, a lot of people love to be chashuv. In this context, chashuv is an axe. The most chashuv is an axe. Eini v'omer Ravuna bar Chia mishmei deula ha'omer l'chaveroi bayis bebeisi ani moichelach. I have a bunch of houses. I'm selling you the house of houses. Mareu aliyah. He shows him the attic. The attic in the time of the Gemara wasn't very good. You have to walk up steps. It's hard to get to. It might be a little, there might be a little slant in the roof. It's not geschmack over there. So why is it when a person says the house of houses, he shows him an aliyah? La mishum degriya. The Gemara is going to make a distinction like that soon. La mishum degriya. Isn't it because I'm showing you the worst, not the best? Loi me'ula shebabatim. Look at the word aliyah means a ben aliyah, like somebody that who's growing. He's working his way up. Aliyah in fact means the best of the best. What does the best of the best mean? The penthouse. I'm giving you the best, not not the attic that you're thinking. I'm giving you the best. So Zok the Gemara, Meisve, have a kasha. Shor b'shvarai higdish. If a person says Shor b'shvarai, the ox of oxes, and what does it say a second later? V'chein shor shel hegdish. Yeah, let me just put them up on the screen together. You don't really need it, but one case is shor b'shvarai. What does shor b'shvarai mean? Top of the top. What's the next one? Shor shenisarav. It says in the Seifa, V'chein shor shel hegdish shenisarav b'acherim. Rabbi Isai, pay attention over here. It says v'chein. These two cases are identical. Shor shenisarav, meaning this is a bad case. And we spoke about it. In King's Ranch in Texas, or whatever that place is, the guy has 800,000 acres, right? The property is worth $9 billion, the property. It's owned privately. 35,000 cattle, at least. And I take one shor, I want to get him good. Take one shor that's like this and throw him in there. He's a goner. All 35,000, what are you going to do? The helicopters over there, they're trying to herd the things. It's like larger than Israel, 850,000? I don't even know. It might be like the size of Israel. Something crazy, Meshuggah. So you can really mess a guy up with this case, right? The Chayin Shoshel Hegdish and Nisari Ba'acherim. Hegdish got mixed up with others. Hagadol Shebahem, Hegdish. What do? You take the largest one and you make it Hegdish. V'kulam yimachru letzorchei oiles. In both of these cases, Rabbi Isai, even in the first case, Shor b'shvari. Why? Because it says Shor b'shvari. Then a second later it says V'chein Shor shenisarav. What do? Top one, top dog, the top shor goes to Hegdish. But what do you do with the rest? All of them must be sold because you don't know which one. Maybe one of them is a oila. Each one has a suffix kedusha saguf. It's not even kedusha damim. It's a massive kedusha over here. Each one in a l'tzorchei oiles with meim chulin. And then you take the money, give it to chulin. So it's a kasha. We said only the top one in case number one, shor b'shvari, only the top one. There's no mention of selling the rest. Tirguma ashar shel hegdish nisar b'acherim. That halacha of that you sell everything is only in that. Only in the second case of shor shenisar. Chen kamer, the identical cases, Tirguma agadol. There's two halachas. One is that you give the top one to hegdish. That's tak on both. V'chein. In Shor b'shvari, Shor shenisar, both cases, you give the best one to Hegdish. Now there's a second halacha, that you have to sell the rest. That second halacha only goes in the second case of Shor shenisar. Meisvei, question. Here comes Gershon again. I'm selling you the house of houses. V'nofal. And one of the houses falls, crumbles. Mareu nofal. He tells the buyer, I'm sorry, your investment is right here in the rubble. I have 100 slaves, I'm selling you a slave, umeis, and one of them dies. Mareu umeis, he shows him the dead one. This is what you bought from me. If you tell him he gets the top one, basi means the top one. Let's see what fell. Let's see if it's the penthouse, let's see if it's the bottom. What fell exactly? What broke? Says the Gemara, you bring me a raya from a regular transaction between two human beings. The guy that has the star, he always loses out. The yad bal shtar tachtoina. The buyer of this house loses. But when it comes to Hegdish doesn't lose. So now let's go back. So you could say when Gershon ben Moshe was selling this guy, Michael ben Shitrit, he actually sold him an attic, not a penthouse. Over here, Aliyah doesn't mean the best of the best, like Gershon showed Michael, this gorgeous penthouse on top of the MDY tower. He actually meant Aliyah Sagah garnished, something bad. Why? Because at the end of the day, the purchaser that has a shtar, he loses out. All right, Zok De'elegi Mishnah. Here starts the Agadita. Starting the daf, we're starting the Agadita. A person says to himself, I'm donating an oila. So obviously, where do you bring an oila? You bring the Beis Hamikdash. So this is the Agadita. The Gemara is going to say the story twice. There was a crazy story in Klal Yisrael. Shimon HaTzadik was a Kohen Gadol 40 years into the Bayis Sheni. When he was nifter, a lot of things changed, as the Gemara is going to tell us. They stopped saying Birkus Kahanim with the Shem HaMefayrosh, with Shem Hashem. A lot of things happened. As he was dying, he said, I want my second son to be the Kohen Gadol, Chanyai. And his older brother, Shimi, was jealous. And, yeah. Shimon and Shimi. Shimi. Yeah. And Shimi did some terrible things, as the Gemara is going to describe. He wanted his brother dead. So, Chanyai runs away to Alexandria and builds a Beis Hamikdash. Something like this. Right. So obviously, if you're going to bring a carbon in Mitzrayim, in Alexandria, lo yatsa. Lo yatsa. But if a person says, I'm bringing oila, and I'm going to be makrivin in Beis Chanya, yakrivin b'migdash, oila goes in the Beis Hamikdash. But if you're makrivin in Chanya, yatsa. We have to understand what this means. The Gemara is going to discuss this. How in the world could you bring an oila in a Beis Hamikdash that's outside of Yerushalayim and say that you're yatsa? Reb Shimon Omer, this is not Reb Shimon HaTzadik. This is not Shimon HaTzadik. This is Rebbe Shimon, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. Ein zu oila. This is nothing. It's not an oila. It's a regular animal. You could sell it, do whatever you want. You could ride it. It doesn't matter. It's not oila. Now, same thing, similar case. Hareini Nazir. Person says, I'm going to be a Nazir. Yigal ben Mikdash. He has to remove all his hair in the Beis Hamikdash, just like this. V'im gilach bebeis Chanya yatsa. Sorry, skipped. And if he shaved off his hair in Beis Chanyai, obviously it's not a Beis Hamikdash. Loi yatsa. Hareini Nazir shagal Beis Chanyai. But if he says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to shave my head in Beis Chanyai, Yigal B'Mikdash. He should originally lechatchila shave his head in the Beis Hamikdash. Yigal Beis Chanyai yatsa. Again, we have to understand what's going on here. So the Gemara is going to say he's not a real Nazir. He didn't really, it's not a Nazirus. So that's why if he did it in Alexandria, yatsa. Reb Shimon Omer, he's not a Nazir at all. Ask the Gemara, yatsa. How could a person be yatsa? A person says, I'm going to bring it in Beis Chanya. Yatsa. It's a ayla. It's a ayla. Hamikdal katla. You're killing it outside of the Beis Hamikdash. If you shechted it outside of the Beis Hamikdash, you'd be chayiv kares. If you killed it outside of the Beis Hamikdash, you killed it. It's not how could you be yatsa? If you choked it, you didn't check it, so you killed it. So how could it be yotza? We're talking about a case. If once a person says, "I'm bringing it in Beis Chanyai," so what he's saying is, "I'm bringing an oila without any responsibility. If something happens to it, farfallen, I don't have to do anything. If I choke it to death, I'm not mechuyev. Even if I myself kill it, I'm not mechuyev anything. So yotza over here with me, I don't have to bring another one. It doesn't mean I'm yotzi de chayva of oila. Which means I fulfilled my obligation with this animal. This animal, I don't have to take care of it anymore. I killed it, fine. Next, continue your life. But let's say, let's say you take this animal and you take a shchita knife and you shecht it in Beis Chanya. What happens to you? Kares. then you would be chayiv kares because you're shechting outside of Beis Hamikdash. So let's talk about the next case in the Mishnah. Aren't they identical? If he says I'm a nazir, then I'm going to take care of the hair in Beis Chanya in Alexandria. You should lechatchila do it in the Beis Hamikdash. But if you did it in Chanya, you're okay. So obviously you have to say it's the same case. I'm not taking responsibility on these animals. Great. But the problem is, in order for a nazir to start drinking wine and be metamal meis and everything, you have to bring korbanos. There's 3 korbanos. There's the chat, the shlom, and moila. You have to take care of yourself. You can't say, oh, these korbanos are without achrayas. Ella, Omarava, Adam Zeh, L'doir in this comment. Says Rava, you got it wrong. He didn't bring an oila. He didn't say, I'm going to take upon myself an oila. He's talking about a gift to Hashem. Sounds like an oila. It's like an oila, but it's not an oila. It's a way of saying a gift. I'm bringing a gift to Hashem where? In Chicago. So there's no mechutz lebeis hamikdash over there. It's not even an oila. It's stam, an animal. An adava. Like a gift. Not an adava to the beis hamikdash. An adava in a different sense. Like on a bama. Like I'm just giving a carbon to Alexandria. I'm bringing something to Hashem. Like I'm making a kugel kavod Hashem. Kavod Shabbos Kodesh to kavod Hashem. Nothing to do with the beis hamikdash. It's not an oila. What? He wasn't magdish it. It's not hegdish.
He used the borrowed lashon.
Yeah, it's ki'ilu. The best way I can describe it is oila. But it's not an oila. Ela marava. Adam zel ador niskaven. Omar. And he says to himself, if I could get there, I'm very close. I live in Eilat. I'm right there by Egypt. I'll just bring it over there. I'm not going to bring it all to Yerushalayim. Let's do it. More than that, I don't want to trouble myself. Nozanami, and the same case would be by Nozar. I got and he's trying to give himself sigufim, mitzar himself, to get a kapara. But he didn't mean to bring a carbon to Beis Hamikdash. If I could get there and cut my hair off in Beis Chanya, great. Let's do it. More than that, I don't. So if you're going to shecht an animal like that in Alexandria, you're not chayiv kares in such a case. It wasn't egdish. Ramnun Omar loch nazir k'takameres. When we're referring to a nazir, you're 100% right. Oila amanas shelo yischayev b'achriyus k'lamar. In other words, it's tzvei dinim over here. There's the nazir. Nazir is, he didn't mean at all to be a nazir. But by a oila, it's a true carbon. He did mean to make it a carbon. He just said, I'm not going to have a chayes. You asked me, but the nazir should be the same case. No, nazir is a different case. 2 different cases. Nazir, he didn't mean it for real. So therefore, he could cut his hair off in Alexandria and not worry about any karbanis because he's not a real nazir. By oila was a real oila, just as the type of oila that what it means, yatsa means that if he kills it, he doesn't have to bring another one. Also holds like this. If a person says mafurish oila in Beis Chanya, vekriva be'eretz Yisrael, he shechted in Eretz Yisrael, yatsa va'onish kares. How do you get kares? Because it's a real carbon. He thought in his mind that the midbar still has kedusha from the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. So he said, I want to be makrivit in the midbar. Vekriva be'ver yardin, yatsa va'onish kares, because he designated as a real oila. He's chayiv kares. Yatsa means there's no achrayis. He said, I'm not absolving myself from any responsibility. So if this animal dies, or even if I kill it myself, I don't have to bring another one. There's a halacha, Rabbi Isai. Listen to this, David. You have to know this. A kohen that performs avodah zarah can never do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. What about if he did the avodah in the Beis Chanya? If he worshipped the Beis Chanya. He helped Chanya out. It's also for them to perform the avodah, but it's for a different reason. It's not a rice as much as it is a gzeira. And certainly, and the Gemara is going to prove from here that Beis Chanya is not avodah zarah from here. Certainly, if you do avodah zarah, you cannot perform the avodah Beis Hamikdash. If you don't know what a bum is, let's just I'll keep on talking over here while this plays in the background. There's a bama Mizbach Hashem Yerushalayim Kim Ochlu Matzis Beker B'Chayim. If these kohanim they brought sacrifices on a bama, it's a mizbech in somebody's backyard in Tom's River or something. I'll go upon him. Says the Gemara, it says the Mishnah that this kind we treat him like a balmum. They cannot be makriv a carbon, but they split. They cannot be makriv in the Beis Hamikdash, but they can eat like a balmum. If a kohen performs shchita for the avodah zarah and he does tshuva, all the cases here are cases that he did tshuva. Karbanoi reach nichayach. He can continue performing the avodah Beis Hamikdash. Why? Where do we see this in the pasuk? The key word here is yisharsu. That a kohen who did, he was misharis. He performed an avodah in the Beis Hamikdash lefnei giluleim. I'm sorry, to the avodah zarah. V'hoy lebeis Yisrael l'michshal avan. It's a stumbling aveira. It's a terrible thing what they did, that they were misharis the avodah zarah. And then it says afterwards, you cannot perform the avodah Beis Hamikdash. So the Gemara darshans, the word yisharsu, yavad sheris in shchita lav sherisu. Anybody that learns zvachim, and even if you didn't learn zvachim, you all know that a Yisrael can perform the shchita in the Beis Hamikdash. How can a Yisrael perform shchita in the Beis Hamikdash? Because it's not what? Because shchita. Oh, first Mishnah is chulin. Usually the Gemara and we're going to even see more. What? Akol sherim b'shchita. Because. Okay. Stam shchita. Yeah, stam shchita. He's right. Akol panim. Almost the first. Akol panim shchita ksheira bazar in the Beis Hamikdash. So you see, it's not a sheris. The Torah is talking about a thing that's sheris. Says the Gemara. By the way, shachris is in 12 minutes. Whoever's waiting for shachris. Itmar. What about the next thing? Zrika. So this, I think, will really hit you as a massive chiddush. Zrika is 100% an avodah Beis Hamikdash. It's the number one avodah. It's the mechaper. So what about a kohen? You hear this, Dave? A kohen who performs zrika by mistake. He thought that's mutter to do zrika in the Beis Hamikdash, to avodah zarah. Could he perform the avodah later on in the Beis Hamikdash? You'll be surprised to learn that there's a shita that says it's awesome for him to perform, even though it was a complete mistake. So, shagag b'zrika, he thought that it's mutter to do zrika, to avodah zarah. It's no problem. Continue doing the avodah. Rav Sheshes Amar, ein karbon reach nichayach. You cannot. On Rav Sheshes menamid Allah. How do I know this? Nechsiv v'hayu lebeis Yisrael lemichshol avoin. It says two words: michshol, stumble, avoin, and avera. My love, oy michshol, oy avoin. L'chayr is talking about two different things. A michshol is a stumbling by. In other words, you didn't do it on purpose. And avoin is that you did deliberately. U michshol shoygig v'avoin mezid. That's the pashtus. Rav Nachman, michshol de avoin. You stumble to do an avera. So no, it's only mezid according to Rav Nachman. According to Rav Sheshes, it's both a michshol and avoin, and shoygig and a mezid. It's referring to this pasuk of avodah zarah. A kohen can forgive himself. If a person does an avera, a kohen himself will go into the Beis Hamikdash and do a kaparat to himself. B'mai. What does it mean? How? That's not a chiddush. If a kohen did the shchita to avodah zarah b'mezid, he could continue. Why? Because it's not an avodah, we said, and he can continue doing avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. Elalav, no, but he does tshuva. Elalav b'zrika. It must be that he performed a zrika b'shoygeg. Rav Sheshes Amalach loyla b'shchita. No, we're referring to shchita u'b'mezid loy, and it's not true. If a kohen does a shchita on purpose, he cannot perform that avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. Why? Nasa, they stick in here, koimer l'avodah zarah. You're right. Shchita is not an avodah. But there's another problem. He becomes a koimer. A koimer becomes a priest to avodah zarah. And a priest to avodah zarah has no place in our Beis Hamikdash. They each go according to their own reasoning. The itmar, hey, b'shchita. If he did avodah zarah and did tshuva by shchita, he continue performing the avodah. Rav Sheshes he cannot perform the avodah. Rav Nachman he didn't perform an avodah. Rav Sheshes the problem is a misharis, avodah, whatever it is, you want to garis, but the point is he becomes a priest of avodah zarah and that's why you cannot perform the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. Omer Rav Nachman, Mina Minala. How do I know this? The Sanya kohen shaved with his zara v'shav. A kohen that performed the zara, he did tshuva. His carbon is a beautiful thing. Hashem loves it. B'mai. If he did it, if he did an avera by mistake, b'shoigig, my v'shav. What does it mean he did tshuva? Shav oimedu. It was a complete mistake. It was an honest mistake. El pshita b'mezid. He did it deliberately. V'bezrika. And if he did it by the throwing of the blood on the mizbeach, kishav ma'havi, who cares if he did tshuva, avad le'isheros, he's done and gone for the rest of his life. He performed the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash, avodah zara, and he cannot perform avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. Ela b'shchita must be that we're talking about shchita. Rav Sheshes Amalach, leilam b'shoigeg, we're talking about that he did it by mistake. V'achi kamar. So he twists the words a little bit. V'achi kamar, im shav mi'ikarai, if a person has never done an avera to begin with, how is that possible? He did an avera complete b'shoigeg, thinking honest mistake. He thought it's mutter to throw blood to avodah zara. What was he doing there? I don't know. But he thought it was an honest mistake. He could continue performing the avodah in Beis Hamikdash, but if he did shchita b'meizid, ein karbanoi reach nichayach. Great. So that's the end of that. What about ishtachava avodah zara? A person bows down to avodah zara, didn't shecht anything. He bowed to avodah zara and he did tshuva. Rav Nachman Omar karbanoi reach nichayach. He could do tshuva from that. It's not a sheirus. It's not. Rav Sheshes Omar ein karbanoi reach nichayach. No, he can't. Again, with words, he said, Eliata, he said, Eliata. He talks to the Avodah Zarah, said thank you to the Avodah Zarah. And he did tshuva. Rav Sheshes Again, Rav Sheshes says no. He says, I need all these cases. Shtachava, Shchita, Haida, all these things. Why? Diash Minahach, easy stuff, right? Diash minun hach kamaisa. If it says only the zrika part, he did zrika by mistake. But he comer of sheishes mishum the other sheishes. At the end of the day, this guy performed an avodah that you do in the Beis Hamikdash, and that's why he says that he cannot do the avodah anymore in the Beis Hamikdash. Avashchita the le'avad le'sheres. It's not considered. Shchita is mutter by Yisrael. We said even a woman, right, in the Beis Hamikdash. So it's not considered sheres. Maybe you would admit that this kohen can perform in the Beis Hamikdash. No, he can't. He did a ma'isa. He didn't do any avodah. There's no animal involved. There's no avodah. Maybe this should not stop him from performing in the future avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. If it says but l'maisa he bent down on his feet. He did something with his body. Throughout Shas, talking is not considered a ma'isa. Maybe that shouldn't prevent him, according to Rav Sheshes, from doing the avodah. Tzricha. It says in the Mishnah, certainly if a kohen performs avodah zara, certainly he cannot do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. So now we say the story. Here comes story time. From the fact that the Mishnah says that Beis Chanya has this halacha, but if you perform the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash, you perform the avodah zara, you cannot do avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. Certainly, he can't perform in the Beis Hamikdash. If you're comparing avodah zara to Beis Chanya, you say certainly that means that avodah zara is worse than Beis Chanya. That means Beis Chanya is not avodah zara. Tanya command the Omar Beis Chanya lav avodah zara hu. Sanya. That year, the Shimon HaTzadik died. He performed avodah, I believe, 40 years in Bayis Sheni. He was from the Anshe Knesset Gdoila. Omar le'en shana zu hu meis. He said about himself, this is the last year of his life. Omar le'en you look nice and healthy. How do you know you're going to die? Omar le'hem kol yom ha'kippurim nizdaman zoken echad lavush levanim. Every single year, an old man wearing white comes to me. V'nesativ levanim. V'nichnasimi. He goes with me into Kodesh HaKadoshim v'yatzim and he comes out. Says Tosfos, top Tosfos. Even a malach can't go in there. Perhaps, I can't say for certain, perhaps he saw the Rebbeinu Shalom himself, Kavyachol, in a form of a human being, as an old man, dressed in white. But this year, if it's like Tosfos says, Hakadosh Baruch Hu dressed in black, as an Avov, v'nesativ shchayim, v'nichna asimi v'lo yatsa. He didn't come out with me. Lachar regel, right after Sukkot, Chol Shivas Yomim, v'meis, he's nifter on Chavtas Tishrei. V'nimnu echav ha'koyanim levarach b'Shem. From that day on, they stopped using the Shem HaMeforish. They used to say Yud Kei Vav Kei in their brachas, no more. B'shas P'tirasa Yomer Lehem, they felt that there's no more Kedusha, there's nothing to save them. B'shas P'tirasa Yomer Lehem. And on his deathbed he said, Chonyoy b'ni yishav eshtachtai. I want my son Chonyoy to be, instead of me, Niskana b'shimi yachiv. Here's a person who has jealousy from his own brother. What does he do? Wants him dead. Dead, his own brother, because of jealousy. Pella ploy. It's not a pella. Those who know. Shayigalim many shtei shonim u'mechza. Chutzpah. He's 2.5 years older than me. He's going to be the Kohen Gadol, even though my father said that the younger one should be. Let me teach you how it's done. Of course he knew how it's done. He saw his father doing it hundreds of times. But maybe he didn't know how it's done. And the inauguration, you wear something special like the king that day, something up. I'm going to tell you, my dear brother, what you have to wear is woman's clothing. You have to take your wife's dress. He'll be shoy bunkeli, some sort of hide of women, and he put on a belt of women. It's a nice pink belt. And he put him there by Mizbech. And then he runs and he tells, unbelievable, from Kinna. He goes to the other Kohanim. To his beloved. Look what he promised his wife. He promised her, if I ever become a Kohen Gadol, I'm going to wear your clothing. They wanted to kill him. So he ran away from them, and ran after him. He went to Alexandria. I'll show the second video tonight, tomorrow. And that's why he ran away. He was supposed to be the Kohen Gadol, but he had to run away to Alexandria. And over here it says that he built it, he did it l'shum avodah zarah. And they said one more line, Mazeh, this Shimi, Shlayarad, he was never the prime minister of Israel, but he had such jealousy of somebody that was Hayared law, somebody that was already there and is removed. The jealousy is so great. Divri Rabbi Meir, Rabboisai. We'll see you tonight in Bnei Brak. Have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDY.com.